What is up, guys? It is AJ. So Kiyon Kimura just dropped a video kind of accusing MMA fans of being racist, and he brings up a few points that I personally want to debunk. Let's get into this first take and let's listen to Kiyon for just a second.
Hot take. MMA fans are a little racist against black fighters. I gotta agree with this.
The picture of Tyron Woodley right away. Woodley's just not super likable and was never popular throughout his run, even when he was the best. But it's not because he's black. It's just people find his personality a bit mundane. I actually was a Tyron Woodley fan for a long time, so he does have a fan base for sure, and people that supported him and liked him. But the masses kind of didn't like him. He had issues with the UFC, but it's not race-based. For him, I think it's just his personalities don't mesh that well with the many, and Dana White at the top and him weren't, best pals. It's fucking T-Wood. It is what it is.
And this is very apparent when we talk about Tyron Woodley, former UFC welterweight champion, and a fighter who I think out of any fighter that's ever fought in the UFC has been very vocal about his mistreatment as a black MMA fighter.
He's mistreated as a fighter, but I don't think it's because he's a black fighter. I'm sorry, Kiyon.
Fighting for the UFC. And because of it, he received a lot of backlash. People right away were saying he's pulling out the race card, he's trying to play victim, this and that. And I think Tyron...
To be fair, he did, but it's not the race being what held him back throughout his career. I just think T-Wood isn't that likable, and I think a lot of you guys probably feel the same. I don't know. I'm curious. Let me know in the comments how many of you guys like Tyron Woodley, regardless of what race you are. I want to jump to the next point, though, because this one's kind of mundane, and, T-Wood is not a well-liked fighter, so I can't really get too deep on him, man. It's T-Wood, bro. All right, next one. This is interesting right here.
Black MMA fighters are only able to get that recognition once they reach the highest of the highs. So Jon Jones, Anderson.
I feel like in general, when you reach the highest of highs, that's when you're going to see the most recognition as a fighter, regardless of the color of your skin. I feel like this is just another attempt to pull shit out of thin air. And I'd say it's a fallacy, man. I think there's black fighters that are well-liked throughout all parts of the rankings. They bring good fighting styles. That's all we really care about, man. If you're picking your fucking favorite fighter based on race, you're a fucking moron.
Silva had to be the very best for a very long time in order for them to get that respect. But even then, they still receive disrespect.
Every fighter is going to receive disrespect. Not because of their race. Anderson Silva, I honestly don't remember a lot of disrespect towards Anderson from fans when he was, on that run. I remember Dana White would fucking complain, but Anderson Silva had some terrible performances in the UFC. That fucking Damian Maia fight, the Talish Leites fight. Fighters get criticized for lackluster performances. White, black, or anything else. You can't fucking put it on the race. He got disrespected. Anderson Silva is one of the greatest of all time, and he's beloved by all MMA fans.
And I'm not talking about Jon Jones with all the things that he does outside of the cage. I'm talking about inside of it. If he doesn't perform well in a fight, people are going to turn on him. Same with
Kiyon's he's pulling shit out of thin air. That's why you saw him stutter there. Jon Jones, the GOAT. I don't know who's really disrespected his performances. He lost to Dominic Reyes. Oh, sorry. He won the fight by split decision. He was losing. He probably should have lost that fight. And it's not because he's black. It's because he was losing that fight. He fought Thiago Santos. He had a bad performance. He still won the fight. It's not because of his race that people are criticizing him. It's because he's a fighter. And he's putting himself in the fucking limelight where people are going to come at you and criticize you. Any fighter's going to be shit on for bad performances, underwhelming performances, losses. Come on, Kiyon. This one was outlandish to me because Jon Jones is literally my all-time favorite fighter. As a kid, I remember when Jon Jones beat the shit out of Matt Hamill and lost by DQ, and I said, this guy's fucking incredible, and I followed him all the way through and through. But it wasn't like, oh, I'm only a fan of him because he's black, or I'm only not a fan because he's black. I don't understand, man. I really don't get how race is this big of an issue where Kiyon wants to make a video of it in MMA. I don't think racism, as far as mixed martial arts goes, is very prominent. I think mixed martial arts is probably the least racist of the sports because you're literally fighting in a fucking cage. You go to war and then it's all love afterwards. So I definitely disagree with Kiyon on this one. We're going to get to the next one. Let me fast forward this bad boy right here.
And even when a black fighter does reach these heights, such as a Demetrius Johnson and Kamaru Usman, those two guys still did not receive the recognition they deserved, in my opinion.
Kamaru Usman is considered the GOAT welterweight, at least by me. I think he'd fuck up George St. Pierre in his prime. And I think a lot of people would agree. I don't think racism has to do with Mighty Mouse's issue. I just think he was at a time where that weight class wasn't that developed. And it was kind of like, if you guys remember, I think it was like Jeff Wagenheim, one of these early like content guys, was talking about, oh, it's like crazy to think that a guy 125 pounds could kick my ass or something. At that time, when Mighty Mouse was the champion of the world, I do think the masses had less respect for the smaller guys in the cage, not knowing how good they are and how dangerous they can be. But if you've gone into a mixed martial arts school, if you've rolled in jiu-jitsu, a dude could be a $125. But if he's a fucking animal on the mat, he's gonna grab your back and fucking strangle the hell out of you. So I think it was timing, man. Early run. 125 pounds. Mighty Mouse was too early, man. If he was 10 years after, if Mighty Mouse was coming up now, I think he'd be a star. And I think he'd be running through the 125-pound division right now. This next take is interesting. We're going to bring this next one up.
Francis Ngannou. This guy being described for his power.
Yes, Francis Ngannou has incredible power. Why wouldn't he be described for his power?
Hits like a Ford F1 whatever.
Isn't that like a great compliment?
And he's a freak athlete.
He is?
How come he can't be described as a smart fighter who's very technical?
Because he's not super technical. I mean, look at Jairzinho Rozenstruik and Francis Ngannou. Francis has definitely gotten better, and he's more technical now than he was in the past. But be honest with me, Kiyon, everybody watching, if Francis Ngannou didn't have punching power, would he have reached the heights that he did in mixed martial arts? No, absolutely not. He has incredible knockout power, and that's not knocking him in any way. It's the fucking gift from God to make you an all-time great. Why would we not bring it up?
Trains hard, knows the fundamentals.
No one says he doesn't train hard or know the fundamentals, especially in his wrestling defense he showed with Stipe, even his takedowns he showed against Ciryl Gane.
Well, we saw that in his fight against Ciryl Gane. How come that's not being spoken about? How come he has to be this freak show type of fighter in order for him to get promoted?
I mean, he is a freak show, though. He is. He hits like a fucking truck. And that's a fact. And Ciryl Gane and him is a great matchup that I wish we could see again. And a lot of people thought Ciryl Gane could have beat him. He's not as technical as Ciryl Gane. Why would we describe a fighter that's a fucking knockout artist as a technical masterpiece? It wouldn't make sense. And that's why it's not sold that way. It's not because of race, Kiyon.
Another example of this trash talking is Leon Edwards and Darren Till. Two very similar fighters.
I wouldn't call them similar fighters. Leon Edwards is way better than Darren Till. And Leon also has his head on a lot more straight. He fucking grinded hard as fuck. Whereas Darren Till, he has some personal life issues. There's been times he's arrested. He's fucking doing shit he shouldn't be doing. I wouldn't say they're similar fighters. Darren Till, though, I mean, he got the brash personality that made him marketable. But if you look at the actual skills, Leon Edwards is vastly superior, and he's become the champion. And Leon's just a humble guy. So if you're talking about why Leon wasn't as popular as Darren Till, because in general, guys that maybe are more on the quiet or more humble side, it's harder to build. The fight game, the reality is the fight game is built upon really selling yourself well. You look at the biggest money draw in combat sports, Floyd Mayweather. He talked the talk every single time, and he walked the walk too.
Both strikers, both from England. One is white, one is black, and the white guy was always talking a lot of trash.
So he's more popular, but he's white and he's more popular. Like, that's a bad thing? Because he's white, he can't be more popular. People like Darren Till more. He talks the talk. He's more brash. He says a lot. Leon Edwards is calm, cool, collected, and quiet. But I'll be honest with you. Leon Edwards, humble savage, as far as martial arts go, for me, gets the highest respect. He looks incredible when he fucking knocks out Usman on the comeback. He's definitely slept on for sure on the way through and now getting to the top. But it's because he's a quiet guy, not because of the color of his skin.
Leon was actually very respectful, but look at the trajectory of both of their careers.
Right. Look at it. Way better is Leon Edwards. Darren Till is washed out at this point. I think he's on the decline, seriously. These are pretty much the points that Kiyon brought up, and I just really don't like the race baiting thing to claim, oh, MMA fighters are racist against black fighters when it's not fucking true. I think MMA is probably the least racist of all sports. I think there's a lot of love for everyone in MMA. I don't think he has bad intentions with these videos. He's trying to do MMA hot takes, and I actually like him. He seems like a nice guy, and he makes pretty good content. But I had to go through and break this down because I just disagree with the points he's bringing up. They're kind of generalizations that he's turning into false realities and facts and, building the narrative upon it. Don't fall for the trap. Guys, I hope you enjoyed. Let me know in the comments. Do you think MMA fans are racist? Or do you agree with me? This is kind of a sport of one love. At least it is for me. Guys, much love. Smash the likes if you're new. Subscribe. Thank you all so much for tuning in. And I will see you all in the next one. Peace, guys.